Hi, everybody. Welcome to Orange Tea and Ties Experience, a series on asset protection in a dynamic market. The host for today is Dallas Hassan, myself. A little something about myself. I started in the year 2006 in my marathon in real estate. Glad to have come this far, and experience is just a number, I guess. In my opinion, guts is the real age. My earlier years handled a lot of cases where no one wanted to take up. Seriously, I didn't really mind since I didn't have much of network since then. But over time, I realized that I save a sizable amount of exposure to guide and assist many of our consumers and consultants alike. And that has been very much instrumental in me developing a course of such kind, asset protection in a dynamic market. Dynamic market, why? Probably it's because now we are facing the COVID-19. We have faced the SARS, we have faced the Lehman shares, we have faced so much of differences before, but property market is always on the move. Let's see what is installed for us with our course on asset protection in dynamic market. Overview to this is to grow and enhance the value of cash and CPF in your existing property to create a positive cash flow for homeowners, safeguarding them from eroding interest rate and those which are nearing to above 38 year of mark and also long lease period of asset class. I'll share with you more along the way. What are ways to protect your asset, your property? Some of the ways would be to buying under a company's name, under joint investment, buying under mortgage insurance, shifting property asset class. Okay, we'll go through one by one. My focus today will be the last one, shifting property asset class. Property buying under a company name is to protect the asset class from inherent bankruptcy or risk of creditors. But the thing is, the loan to value is already very, very high. So that prevents me and making a choice with lesser cash outlay. Next will be joint investment, similar to company, similar to purchasing under company. Joint investment is also possible, but we face a risk of split agenda between investors, and each of the investor may be already owning one or two properties, so the loan to value may differ as well. Buying under mortgage insurance is very straightforward. You have to get this, but the thing is, to enjoy this, you either have to be no more, or you'll be at adverse risk of illness or what insurance industry deems as a major illness. All right. And last but not the least, this is where our focus is going to be for today. It is a shifting property asset class. That means from one property, how we are going to protect and save our CPF as well as our cash resources. Okay. The ideal that I take today as a model will be public housing, HDB. Why I say this is because a lot of homeowners are HDB dwellers, and this will be a good example for many of us, including ourselves, as well as for consultants who are going to encourage and advise on the market. This will be ideal for you. So, what's the role of HDB? Generally, they are moderators, they are regulators. All right, to maintain the value of the property, they have valuation. To also to prevent from adverse risk, they also come up with the recent they come up with the recent CPF restriction. Those properties which are beyond a certain age, especially those which are getting older. To be precise, those which are beyond 38 years and above. What else is the role of HDB? For example, SERS, selection of en bloc or redevelopment scheme. Government will acquire back the HDB and give you a new replacement flat. Number one. What else? Old HDB flat sitting on land with a plot ratio higher than the current usage. And why is this implemented? This allows the government to build more flats within the same plots to increase housing density. Well, but the thing is everybody eligible for this scheme? Not all HDB housing flats will be eligible for SERS. Only about 4% will be identified. So, and this comes as a double whammy, because the moment our minister, Lawrence Wong, has already mentioned that these flats which are going to be at zero tenant left, it is going to be of zero value. That leaves the 96% of those who are not chosen at risk, because they may not be able to get a replacement flat. So this cuts down the myth of perpetuality on a HDB flat. We cannot assume or think that over time HDB flat is here to stay, and if it gets older, we will be given a replacement flat. Our minister Minister Lawrence Wong have already mentioned that it is only on selected cohort. And what is the percentage? The golden number is 4%. What about the rest of the 96%? I'll share with you more. In my next slide, I will also share with you the impact of such measures and how it affects the HDB market, which are ideally 38 years and above. Okay. Okay. Before going to that, those who didn't make the cut, how will it affect the 96%? Okay. Older flats will have zero value, like I said earlier, at the end of the day. When will your HDB flat value start to drop? These are some of the questions that will be in the minds of the homeowners owning this kind of properties. When is a good time to sell? When is a good time to sell this asset before price start dropping? Does this drop happen gradually or drastically? We are here to see. Okay, I'm using two examples. I'm using the same example on both the graph. One is with a flat which started the lease from 1975. The other is a lease which started in 1999. This is from URA. It is extracted from URA, and the estate chosen is Ang Mo Kio. Okay, if you notice, I've chosen a period between about year 2004 all the way up to year 2019. Two type, the one on 1975 is the purple and brown color. You know, the curve purple and brown color is the one for 1975. Both the graphs are the same. Okay, the one which is much younger, 1999, HDB flats completed in 1999, that is in blue and orange. So all is good, all is well in the year from 2004 all the way up till 2013. If you realize there's an inflection point. What is an inflection point? Inflection point is a change in the graph, change in the curve. If you notice from the year 2013, from 2013 onwards, it starts to go down. For which kind of flat? Is it the 1991 or 1999 or the 1975? It is from the 1975 units. So what is the magnitude? That you can see in the right-hand side graph. It is anything between 16.9% drop to all the way to 18.74%. But how about this is in reference to the other units over in the market, the 1999 flat. This I'm just comparing 5-room type at Ang Mo Kio. This is the measure that we have gotten so far. So in perspective, typically it will just mean that if I'm selling a property, a 3-room flat before 2013, a 3-room flat which has been going about 300K, right now it will be nearly about 210K estimated. Okay, how about a 5-room flat? 5-room flat, a flat which is 1975 TOP HDB flat, and before 2013 it would have been about 500K, but right now the price of the property may be nearly about 350K. What does it resonate to? What does it come to say? If let's say an owner choose to sell this, I take this as a reference. If an owner choose to sell at 2013 onwards, he will be having a loss of nearly 20%. For every 100, he will be losing about $20,000, it will be depreciating at 20,000 per 100K. Imagine 500K, imagine 600K, imagine 800K. So if you choose to sell, the first count of deduction will be going for the loan. Second count of deduction will then be for the CPF. And lastly, for the cash. If you go by this order, definitely you may not be having the same kind of returns that you would have enjoyed much earlier. So what are the ways to overcome this? What are the ways to safeguard your life nest? What are the ways to safeguard your savings? What are the ways to safeguard your CPF? What are the ways to safeguard your cash proceeds, which is in this property, which is the subject matter is HDB public housing. That's what we are going to see. What's next? Will HDB prices continue to dip or stabilize? Ask this question to your consumers. Give them the charts. Share with them the chart. Will enhanced housing grant help boost prices? Assuming 2013, I bring back to the same example, 2013, I tell them, the next buyer who's going to buy, he's going to have this, he's going to get this unit, or if you are going to buy back that kind of property which is more than 40 years old, 50 years old, how impactful is the grant going to be for you? If let's say I never taken a grant before and I want to take it on the next subject property, thinking it is cheaper, I want to use. There's loan to value, which is not 100% you can use. I mean, not even the 75% that you'll be sanctioned, you'll be able to use. Not even the 100% on your CPF for this kind of properties, let alone your CPF housing grant. So coming back to the subject matter, how to protect my asset class, how to protect my life nest using steps which I'll share with you in slides to come. This is also another example to elaborate the polarity between the younger flat and the older flats. The estates chosen over here is Bukit Merah Estate and Ang Mo Kio Estate, 5-room flat. 5-room, same type, but older and younger. The blue line is the younger flats. The orange line indicates the newer flats. In the year 2005, the polarity seems lower, but when it hits to year 2020, the polarity is higher. Can you see the difference? Because it is already hitting more than the average use on the subject property in terms of CPF usage, in terms of cash. So you see the polarity. In real words, it means there's a bigger depreciation than it is supposed to be. All right. Now, maybe it will be better if I share with you through an example, through a template that I've used to safeguard my client from this eroding interest or eroding value of his asset in terms of CPF and cash. Let's move on. It's a typical case of a husband and wife who have already purchased a flat. More than 10 years they've been in this flat, and they've been staying here more than 10 years, and the value of this property is about 750K. It is a 5-room flat in Bishan, and this has been a while later. This is not just 10 years, it's more than 10 years, but this couple have been staying here for 10 years. When I shared with them, this is what may happen if you continue to stay in this property. You are comfortable, you are staying well, you are gainfully employed, all is fine and good. But over time, the value on the amount of CPF that you have used, the amount of cash that you have used, now you are young and able, you are still good to go. But over time, when things are not as rosy as now, things may not work out. So when I share with them the sentiments and I share with them with hard details, this is what I get. Scenario, I go into example. The value of the property is about 750K. Husband and wife, gainfully employed at a gross income of about 10,500. Husband earning $7,000, wife earning 3,500. The 350 is actually 3,500. My mistake. This item number 5, the selling price. 750K is the indicative price, and less CPF 200K. The CPF used on the property, 150K used by the wife as refund. Outstanding loan on the property approximately is about 100K. The cash proceeds that they will get after selling off this property is 300K. Now imagine if this property is undergoing the 2013 mark again at a loss of about 200%, at a loss of about 20% average is about 20% after it hits 38 years and above. What could be the estimated value? There will be a drop of about 20% on the value of property, roughly. So that will work out to roughly how much? About 140, 150K, roughly thereabout. Do you think the cash proceed will still be the same? I don't think so. Do you think there will be more people offering at this kind of price then? I'm not sure. But you can see that earlier from our example, when I shared with you two estates, one was going at 800, the other was already going at 600. Why? Simply, it's an open book that above 38 years tenure, the value of the property start to dwindle down. So you need to safeguard your asset. You need to protect your asset. All right. The period is not until 99 years old. You can already short size the period. It is once you hit 38. Don't decide when they hit 38, when the flat hits 38 years old. You should already decide when it hits 30 years old, so that you have a fair playing game, and the next buyer who comes, he also have a fair playing time of at least 5 to 8 years, so he can plan for his next cycle. All right. So that being said, let's get more onto the example. So coming back to the example, husband's income is about $7,000, wife income is about $3,500, and they have use and a refund of CPF will be about 200 and 150 respectively for the husband and wife. Together, their income is 10,500. I repeat, and CPF usage on the property, on this subject property at Bishan is 350K. Next slide. So I did a calculation based on TDSR. This is how much I get after I sell back the house. Husband will receive 100K. Husband has already 100K even before selling the house. Wife 70K. Together, without even selling the flat, they have resource of about 170K. All right. CPF refund from the sale of the house will be 200 and 150K respectively. Together, they'll have about 350K. Cash proceeds after selling 150 and 150, 300K altogether. Why am I separating them like that? So that later part, I'll be able to give them sound advice and give them ways to enhance the value of the property that they have saved through their existing property. So I do it at the start itself. I segregate and separate and tell them that you can have a property together, or you can invest individually depending on your risk appetite. At the same time, on ourselves, we have to be responsible in giving them that kind of advice. We cannot exercise too much risk on their behalf. We have to ask them and do the litmus test due diligence. Yeah, and the TDSR, this is how I'm going to base my proposal to them. So TDSR for the husband alone is about 880K loan. Okay, 30 years. For the wife, is about 467K based on her income, 30 years loan tenor. Together, if they were to purchase, the maximum loan that they'll be able to get is about 1.38 million. Okay, and respectively for each of the manner they are going to hold, 3,516 for the husband. For the wife is 1,729. For the husband and wife together, monthly mortgage, if they were to purchase at 1.384 million, they will be paying about $5,244. Next, CPF ordinary usage. Based on their income individually, if they were to purchase such kind of property, and currently for the amount of income that they are drawing monthly, they can go max at 1,260 for the husband, wife is 735, and husband and wife together shy of $2,000. All right. So if they were to max out and purchase at such price, if they were to max out and they were to finance through their through monthly mortgage, there will be a cash top up of 2,256 for the wife, 2,464. Both of them together, when they purchase a 1.8 million, after their CPF deduction, they will be paying about 3,249. So the recommended price will be $1 million for husband alone. For the wife alone, will be about 750, and 1.8 if they're purchasing a loan. Why am I separating them? If they are going to go for two properties, some will say it is much risk. True, but if we can work out their risk level, their risk appetite, we can customize, tailor-make for them, instead of losing all the money in a property which is depreciating heavily from 38 year onwards, which is public housing. This is one way you'll be able to save. And if I'm going to separate them into two, husband one, wife one, I'm also able to safeguard myself against additional buyer's stamp duty. I'm also able to save on my loan to value. On a typical $1 million property, at least I'll be saving about almost about 400,000 if I were to decouple them and place them in this manner. But this is just a recommendation, not necessary for them to take up. All right, I move on to my next slide. Okay, and this is how much we will be recommending. $1 million property, a 50K property, and a 1.8 together. How much will it be? The numbers are as follows. If I just use the husband's example, $1 million property. Okay, if he is going to go at a $1 million property, if he's going to go for a $1 million property, CPF usage will be about 20%. Then that will be about 200,000. Legal and stamp fees 3,000 and 24,600. Okay, minimum cash required is 50,000. Loan requested 75% of value, 750K. Monthly, you'll be paying about nearly $3,000. After CPF deduction, it will be about $1,657. All right. Then balance cash and CPF that is available after utilizing on this property, they max out on 75%. The balance CPF is about 72,400. The balance cash he has, the husband alone has, is about 100K. So total resources he himself will be about 172,400. Likewise for the wife, if she's going to invest alone in a 750K property, this will be her numbers. Together, if they are purchasing a 1.8 million property, this will be the number. Now, I would like to draw your attention to those figures right at the bottom, where the husband alone, wife alone, husband and wife together, the CPF plus cash together, they'll be having about 172,400 if he's purchasing a loan. The wife will have about cash plus CPF available is about 76,900 together, available alone. Husband and wife, if they are going to purchase together, the available resources after purchasing a property will be about 298,400, close to 300,000. So please remember this number while I go through the next slide. And this will be my recommendation. There'll be three options. I position in such a way there will be a polarity so that they'll be able to see much more clearly. All right, option A, husband and wife purchase a property. Earlier, as I mentioned, it will be a property at 1,750 million according to their income resources. But the wife will stay together with the husband, and the next property, the wife's property, will be rented out. What do they get? Portfolio, the total mortgage of a property portfolio, they have two, right? So less the CPF, they'll be paying about 2,651. Assuming on a worst case scenario in the property that the wife has invested, she will be making a rental out about 2,500 average. This is private property I'm referring to, no more HDB. Private property at 2,500. So wife's unit total cash per month is about $151. She'll be receiving as cash flow. So with all those resources, if they have choose to invest in two properties, and the balance which is available, which is their CPF plus the cash resources, if they are working, if they are gainfully employed for the rest of the tenure, example, okay, they can last almost another 180 years with their resources. 180 years, take note. All right. Option B, husband alone work. Again, they purchase two properties, but this time around, the husband say, never mind, I will allow my wife to take rest. All right. A lot of ladies will be happy to hear this. All right. And what will be the cash flow? The cash flow per month after all the financing, the total cash per month will be about $886. Okay. So the maximum number of years that they can work without his wife working will be about 23 years. Stark difference, 180 years if they both choose to work, and make you with their available resources, they can go on and on for the next 180 years. But option B, if they choose, one decides to rest, take care of the family, or take care of the other issues, or even for study matter, they can still last for another 23 years. But for some reason, if they decide to tour around the world, and both of them decide to stop work, they purchase together. On an extreme case, okay, if they were to purchase, total resources is about 1.8 million. The number of years it can last is about 4.7 years around the world in 4.7 years. Yeah. So that brings me to the end of my sharing today. Reflection. So far, in a nutshell, what I'm here to do is to help my clients reposition back their CPF and cash in better value-adding asset class. So it can necessarily be a double property. It can necessarily be a single property. It doesn't matter. It depends on their risk appetite. But at the end of the day, as agents, as consultants, we have to advise them with integrity. All right. If too many properties, it is too much of a risk. Advise them accordingly. All right. So reflections, witness how we can safeguard our asset class. I've already saved my CPF from going down on value. I've already encashed on my cash proceeds, which may also go down if I choose to keep the public housing, which is the HDB flat, if it is beyond 38 years and above. All right. So, and we have already witnessed that capital gains and CPF use against a dynamic situation like this, COVID-19 or SARS, or even risk of the SARS, people's myth that we are capable, we will be in the 4%, we will be in the selected successful 4%. I've already covered that. Not necessarily. You can choose to exercise discretion and move over to a next class where there is much more capital appreciation and, more importantly, asset protection. Okay. Secondly, how to protect, responsibly offer advice to clients to be prudent with their finance and not be overly exposed to risk. This I covered as well. Third, how to enjoy a positive cash flow and dual capital gains with the available resources in hand without using without using savings in hand. What I'm referring to is those that you encash from your property without even using the cash in hand you multiply with another property. So this is what I've got to share on regards to asset protection. I hope this segment has been very value-adding and helpful to consultants and consumers alike. And with this, I'd like to thank Orange Tea and Thai for the experience series and my topic for the day. See you all. Take care.